Today, I want to talk about why positivity is so important and why people have a problem with it, and things you can do, like the top 10 things that you can do to switch your um, attitude and outlook to being more positive, right? Because if you do that, then what begins to happen is you change how you're thinking. Well, number one, if you're going to change, if you think negativity, you're kind of stuck there. And this can happen at the holidays, especially if like you've experienced a loss in the last year or things didn't work out the way you want. Usually when the holidays coincide, of course, with the year winding down. Um, so the first thing you have to do, as my dear friend Tony Robbins says, is you have to um, focus on why do you want to do it? What's your why? As he says, our dear friend Tony, if you have a strong enough why, you'll figure out how. If you don't have a strong why, you won't do it, right? So why? Well, here's one underneath it all. Generally, across the board, people would rather hang around with people that are positive, right? We're more attracted to people that are positive, right? With the exception of people that are constantly negative, right? Because the other thing that happens, this is why you need to flip, is if you want to start getting positive and hang around positive people, you can't be negative, because if they're truly positive, they'll be pleasant, but they're not going to want you in their circle, their energy. They don't want that energy. I don't want that energy, right? As it says on an airplane, if you got to say, if the mask drop, put your own mask on first, right? And sometimes the negative people, and if they don't want to change, they'd rather ruin your day than look on the bright side. So that's number one. You got to find your own why, right? And it could be good to think about, then you'll be around more positive people. So the first step to being more positive is practice gratitude, right? It's been said for many years, the recovery world says it, psychology adapted it from the recovery. But you can't be grateful and negative at the same time. You can't be grateful and like jealous or angry or anything. If you're truly grateful, it shifts your perspective. It shifts your perspective. The other day, I had a rush of gratitude over something that happened and changed my outlook. I'm like, damn, and it wasn't for something that was going on. It was for something I don't do anymore. Right? So practice gratitude, even if it's the little things. I always tell people when I'm running an online addiction treatment thing, and my specialties, business professionals, executives, and a lot of times people that can't go away to treatment. One of the first things I say is every day you got to write down 3 things you're grateful for. Hot cup of coffee in the morning, whatever it is, right? But practice gratitude, right? The second thing you need to do is surround yourself with positivity, right? And that's the first thing, is try to be around positive people, right? Even if it feels strange at first, right? Try to focus on positive people. And with that, it's easier to practice positive affirmations, right? If you're around positive people and they say, every day I say, I'm grateful, this is it, my big thing, they make fun of me at the health club when I come in, you hear people coming in, how you doing? Good, bare metal, all the stuff you typically hear. And the guy, he did it this morning. He goes, how you doing today? I said, before I could answer, he goes, another glorious day. Because I always say glorious when people ask me how it's going, right? Even when I don't really feel it, because just saying it that way is positive, right? And and just be around positive people. And a few months ago when the election was going on, it was funny. I heard someone else tell somebody, "I don't want to talk to you. You're just dripping with negativity about what's going on." It's like, I don't want to be around it. And they were like, "Well, but you need to." No, right? So surround yourself with positivity, which then you can practice positive affirmation. The next thing is, I think this is why people lose positivity, is they don't set realistic goals. As I've heard said, one way to ensure success is to make sure that the first steps that you decide to do are small enough that you can achieve. If your goal, you wake up, I'm going to run a marathon. If you haven't run in 10 years, no. First, you need to get your fat ass up, put your gym shoes on, and maybe just go for a long walk. Excuse me for being blunt, but set realistic goals. I'm gonna do 20 minutes, 10 minutes of fast walking or slow jogging, right? Because again, if you're judging yourself, this goes with the next thing I would say is don't judge your start by someone that's been doing it for years, right? I mean, somebody comes use physical fitness since we're going into the holidays, and that'll be people's goal for the new year, is don't judge yourself by a person that worked out their whole life. I want to look like you. Well, it can happen, but let's be realistic. First, you got to go to the gym. So set realistic goals, right? Then what you need to do is challenge negative beliefs when they come up, right? Because they're going to come up, right? And this one kind of goes with, the self-awareness of recognizing negative thoughts, right? Because if they're so endemic to you, if they're so natural, you don't have to think about them, right? Then when you first become aware of them, then you need to challenge them. Why am I feeling so negative, right? I don't think the world's going to end today, right? So challenge those. Well, why do I feel that way? What's going on to do this? Is it true? Is this a true thought or just a projection, right? So you want to do those things, right? The other big one that you need to do is reframe failure. So if things don't quite go the way you want, what can you take from it? Reframe it. I've heard a lot of high achieving business people, sports people, performing artists. They tell you they learn more from setbacks or what would be a failure than they do from the successes, right? Big time coach was being interviewed, and that's what he said is he goes, after we've had a great game, he goes, you don't learn anything from it, right? Right. So that's why some people would say from the outside, well, this is crazy. They won whatever to whatever, like they buried the other team. And yet the coach is spending 3 hours picking apart everything that went wrong. Well, you have to reframe failure. It's a step. It's a setback. It's a learning experience, So you disassociate from it. Again, this could go back to, did you set a realistic goal, right? One thing I do like with professional sports teams, whether it's football or baseball, basketball, their end goal is to win the Super Bowl or the World Series, right? But they'll say, well, first we need to win our division. Then we need to do this. Then we need to do that. That's setting those small goals, right? Or making the playoffs. And then, maybe winning the division, then all the way down the line, right? And again, this, if you practice self-awareness, gratitude, you say positive affirmations to yourself, it begins to change a lot of things in your brain, right? And you get more excited about learning. You just get more excited about learning, right? And I love sharing with people how your brain actually works, especially at the holidays, right? Well, I like doing it all the time. Like if you ever walk in a room and go, like you're in your bedroom and you think, oh, I need to, take the steaks out of the freezer so they can thaw so we can cook them. That's your thought, right? So then you finish what you're doing in that room and you walk in the kitchen and you go, what the hell did I come in here for? Right? Or you make a great list you're at the refrigerator and you're looking, okay, I need milk, eggs, whatever it is. You got a small grocery list. You think, I don't need to write it down. I'll remember. Well, just like when you walked in the kitchen from the bedroom, you don't remember what you went in there for. But if you walk back to the bedroom, you go, oh, that's why I want this. And again, you may do this several times. Or you go into the grocery store and you buy a whole bunch of stuff, but you forget a couple of things that you needed. Well, it's called threshold memory. When you're in one threshold or room, this is the way your brain works. This is what makes us so efficient as a species. It'll compartmentalize this information. So when you're in the bedroom and you're thinking, okay, get the steaks out to thaw, when you walk in the kitchen, that thought, you can't access it. It's in a different room in your brain, different threshold. So if while you're in the bedroom and you think, oh, I need to take the steaks out to thaw. If you went and you picture yourself opening the freezer, you know where the steaks are, you're taking them out, you're putting them in the sink or in on a plate so they can thaw, whatever it is. Same, and you're much more likely, 80% more likely to remember it when you walk in the room because you pictured it. Same with a guy used to teach the mega memory course would say, if you imagine going through the grocery store, like you're standing in the kitchen thinking of your grocery list, if you imagine, like most of us go to the same store, right? And you know, okay, the milk's in the back, the eggs are on this side, the bread's over here, this is over there, this is over there. And you picture yourself doing that at that store. When you walk in and you picture walking in the store, you know, for me, it'd be Publix or Winn-Dixie or Walmart. So as you're walking in, you picture, okay, and then you'll go over and you'll get all the things. It's like magic. And to me, that makes it fun. That really makes it fun. So what you want to do is pick the rooms you want to be positive in. Like, you know, when I do stuff at this one place, I'm always picturing, okay, I know I'm going to be in one or two rooms doing these groups. When I'm consulting, I try to imagine I'm going to walk in and be positive, right? I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. It sets that threshold when it walks in. Close with, this is why I started thinking about this from my other profession, which is acting. You know, I'll be in a play and I'll learn 100 pages of dialogue, right? Not consecutive, but you know what I mean. I mean, it's a lead in a play, so you got a lot to remember. And I'll remember it, right? But as soon as the play's over and they take down that set and you walk away, people go, someone will say something about, do you remember? No, you may not remember any of the lines. You might have one or two, but you don't remember it, right? And I was doing a play once. I was directing a play that I'd done a few years before that. I'd been in the one part in that. And for some reason, we had to replace the guy that was playing that part. And we're trying to get people. Finally, they said, well, why don't you do it? You did it a few years ago. And I'm like, okay, I'll double dip. I'll get paid twice. But they're like, do you remember the lines? I said, not really. Right. And I got on set and I kind of remembered the lines. So we changed a few. I asked the cast, okay, we move a few things on the set. So it was like when I did the play 8 years before that. And then suddenly I walked out on stage and I remembered a lot more of the lines, right? Because it crossed back into that threshold, right? So, that's the kind of stuff that you can do, and that makes me positive. When I'm learning about how your brain works, it makes me positive, right? So anyway, so practice positivity, right? Because people generally want to be around positive people, right? And when you find yourself going negative, for whatever reason, you didn't get invited to the party or this is going on, right? Reframe it in your brain and challenge it, right? And so, I was talking to somebody and they're like, oh, they were in a pissy mood, as I would call it, right? And they're like, well, I didn't get invited to this party. And I'm like, well, you quit drinking 6 months ago, correct? Yeah. And you're still not drinking, right? Do the people at that party, your old friends, are they going to be drinking? Yes. Why would they invite you? Right? They who knows? You could project, but it's like, take that as a victory. Reframe it as you're not that person you used to be. So anyway, have some fun with this. If you have any questions, go to hortonpsychology.com and there's a contact page. Shoot me a message. Or if you want, just direct message me wherever you're watching this. Have a great day. Godspeed. And may you have a great, great holiday season.